Here's a great topic here. Don't leave no money on the table. Anybody want to leave some money on the table? This here is a great, great topic. How do you leave no money on the table? Folks, you're not going to get this anywhere else when you're talking to any other networking company. All they want to tell you about is they got some great products, going to sell it to everybody. Everybody going to get rich. Everybody doing it. Ain't none of all that. The way you get wealthy in life is you got to understand finances. You got to minimize your taxes. All big business. John showed you that big corporations, they don't want to pay no taxes. That's their whole thing. And so John showed you that. So we're going to bring on now how you can lower this through some of your financial stuff here. So without any further ado, I want to bring on Mr. Stroza Hill, Infinity out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Mr. Hill, are you there? I see you up. Let's do it.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I'm telling you, this training today, in my opinion, is awesome. First of all, of course, our leader, Mr. Alvin Curry, what an awesome job making it clear why we're here. Dexter, boy, he broke that thing down about how to use that CashFlow strategist, which is the GPS or blueprint to your finances. And of course, our good friend, John Pettifidel, making sure you understood that W-4 controls how much the government takes out of your wallet, but also making it clear that there are people out there that actually make a lot of money, pay no taxes, and we still get broke people questioning us, can you do that? Unbelievable. And of course, my friend James Hall, man, let me tell you something. That information right there, honestly, you would have to pay thousands to get the specifics of what he dealt with to make sure that your information is correct. And that's what it's all about, folks. So we want to thank those presenters, and my goal is to live up to the same standard and give you some information that can help you all. If you see my screen here, you'll see that we run the Too Smart University, which is a combination of the two companies, which is my financial firm called the Let Us See Financial Group. Just so people know, we are a fully licensed firm. We pretty much do all those things that the law says. If you do that, you got to have a license. So we're able to do that. And of course, our partner, Myecon. Myecon for us gives us the platform to be able to educate people about their finances. And I have found out over the years, once a person is educated, if they become a client of yours, they usually stay a client for life. So that's our claim to fame. So again, I'm going to be talking about don't leave any money on the table. And it's going to encompass a lot of things that were already said today, but hopefully you'll get some great information about that. So let's talk about that. Now, I love to use scripture in everything I do because everything that we're learning, folks, there's nothing new under the sun. It has already been discussed. And of course, you need to understand how that works. So in Deuteronomy, excuse me, Harry, come on, computer. You know how it works. But anyway, Deuteronomy 8:18, it says, but thus shall remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth the power to get wealth. Whoa, I love that. That he may establish his covenant, which he sworn unto his fathers as it is this day. So let's get rid of the myth that we're supposed to be broke, busted, and disgusted, and we're doing something, noble to be in that position. No, you're not. It's hard for broke people to help somebody that's in need. Okay, we need to be wealthy doing what's right. So again, I was fortunate enough some years ago to write a book on what is called Living in the Overflow, following God's principles to prosperity. And we show people how to give, how to invest, and how to live. So again, folks, this is something that's not new to me, but it's true to me because this is what we teach every client in our firm. Not only that, let's take a look at how we're going to break down don't leave money on the table. First of all, I need you to write this down if you are writing or taking notes. There's a foundation to everything that you're learning here today, and I will address that very quickly because I want to make sure people know that there's something that you have to make sure is done when you get ready to go on this journey, and that's called income protection management. That's the foundation. All right. Next, we're going to talk about getting free money. See, folks, you don't never want to give up free money. We're going to talk about tax-free money. You don't want to give that up either. We're going to talk about real quick tax deferral money, why you want to defer paying taxes on it now so that you have a bigger amount later, and then have strategies like you learned today to keep most of your money. And number 4, we're going to talk about tax deductible money. And then, of course, number 5, taxable money. You and I, if you live in America, we have to deal with all of these things. So this type of training, folks, is very, very, very important. See, I think people get excited for the wrong things. Yeah, people get excited because somebody makes a lot of money. My brain says, whoopsie-doo. Anybody can make money. It's keeping it. That's the challenge. It's keeping it. That's the boring discussion. Having to talk about these taxes, it's not as exciting as some of the other things we do. But the bottom line is, it's totally necessary if you are going to build wealth. You know, you always hear the people who made their first million and blew it all. Well, that makes no sense. Had they got proper training like people in Myecon, we can make the millions and keep it. All right, the heck with blowing it and then got to start all over. That makes absolutely no sense to me. But people do it all the time because they just have fun. I like having fun too, but I like to have fun that doesn't come back to bite me in the behind. Okay, so let's talk about that foundation first. Personal financial success. Notice what it says: cash flow needed to support your lifestyle during your working years and your retirement years. For all of us in Myecon, you know, this is standard operating procedure. This is what it's all about. So what we want to do is make sure people understand that during the working years, you have some challenges. You have young children, high debts. You have college and vacation you need to plan for, especially if you have girls. You have a job, you have a business, or maybe you're doing both. You should be investing stocks, bond, real estate, and other types of ventures that are out there. Now, if you do that during your working years, at some point, you're going to reach what we call your retirement years. In those retirement years, your children should be grown and gone. The debts are lower when they're grown and gone. Your mortgage is either paid down or close, paid off or paid down. And you are able now to live off the assets from what you've invested over your working career. Now, that's the way it's supposed to work. Now, what happens is this. Obstacles have gotten in our way, like high taxes, poor credit, high debt, inadequate savings and investing, limited income, and that monster called inflation. So in the minds of people, for these obstacles is why a lot of people don't save and invest properly in the beginning. Now, it becomes their excuse, but it's not a legitimate reason because they do everything else they want. They just have to learn how to make this a priority too. So I have to explain to clients in the beginning, it says in the early years, you don't have a lot of money, but in later years, you better have some. That's what we're all working towards. And again, you only have 2 problems. Now, I have to explain to clients, yeah, you get ready, go in business for yourself or you're working. The bottom line, though, is if you were to die prematurely, will your income stop? Will your income that your family depends on still need to come in, or will it stop? Because the only things you have to worry about is dying too soon or living too long. See, living too long is probably worse than dying too soon, because if you're old and broke, man, I can't imagine what that feels like. So we have to make sure that all of our clients know when they get on this journey of saving and investing, protecting their money and all that kind of stuff, we let them know that in the early years, you need lots of coverage. That's insurance, the stuff people don't want to talk about until somebody passes away, and then there's no money, and they're on Facebook talking about GoFundMe and all that other stuff people do, which I tell people all the time, do not send me a GoFundMe nothing, because I'm not going to participate. Because we do what we want to do, this should be a priority. So again, folks, in the early years, you got to be properly protected. Now go on your journey and pray to God that you live and you build. But if something happens prematurely, you didn't leave those dependent on you in trouble. Now, 1 Timothy 5:8 says, anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. It is our responsibility as responsible people to make sure that our people are taken care of. Now, this is going to be real quick because, again, this is what happens. This messes up the entire program that we are teaching today if something happens to you prematurely. And I dare anybody to challenge me on that. So when we talk about income protection, life insurance, what are you trying to protect? What products do you use? There's basically 2. One is called term and one is called cash value. They have many names and you can see them there. Now they have riders that actually allow you to utilize somebody else's money if you're still alive. And again, it can keep you out of your investment. See, we're always talking about how to protect our money. So a chronic illness or a critical illness, y'all can see them there. These are things that can happen to a person. However, they still can be alive, and you would have access to other people's money. Opium. Now, that's not a drug. That's other people's money to keep you from having to use your own. This is a game changer that all of us in business need to be educated about and understood. And of course, having a will, a living will, a trust, very important. You heard Mr. Curry talked about he has a trust to make sure that his assets stay in place forever, and the returns of that does exactly what he says. See, folks, that's powerful. That's why we're all in here fighting. We're fighting to make the next generation better off because we were here, not worse off because we was here. All right. So those are things that we do at our firm. And of course, if you have any interest in that, you'll know how to get in touch with us because there's the number sitting right there. Now, let's talk about one more thing. Proverbs 13:22. Notice what it says. A good person leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. And Mr. Curry went over that very well. It is not right to check out of here unless people don't know the day they're going to die. That's why I say there's one area you don't play with. But to check out of here and leave the next generation broke, busted, and disgusted. Man, come on, really? Is that God's best? The answer is no. See, we're supposed to do what's right. We talked about deductions. Man, I'm telling you, everybody talked about this. John Pettifidel went over this. Dexter, of course, and James Hall. Let me tell y'all something. These deductions, I won't go over them in detail. But again, if you're not doing these things, if you do not have a business, you're missing out on the biggest amount of money that you can keep on your table. So I hope you were paying attention with this, because all of these things that you're already doing, no excuses, are tax deductible. This is how you keep your money. Not doing this is how you give your money away. And I have a rule. If you choose not to listen to this type of information that we're sharing, then don't you complain. That's my rule. That's all right. God gave us all free will. If your free will says, make all the money I can and spend it all, and then you broke and the IRS is on your behind because you didn't pay the proper amount of taxes because you didn't seek good help, and all these things happen, do not complain, because you put yourself in that situation. But once you come to a training like this, no excuses, because we're laying it all out, folks. So that's the way it works. So let's take a look at that first one. Free money, gifting. And I'm going to read this real quickly, and some of I may just paraphrase. But we talk about gifting. I want to read this because notice what it says. You can give up to $15,000 to someone a year, and it's generally not have to deal with the IRS about it. In other words, you can give up to $15,000. It's not be a problem. If you give more than $15,000, that means in stocks, land, new cars, things of that nature in a year, you need to file what is called a gift tax return. Now, of course, you can see your tax professional on that. We just heard from one today. Notice what it says. Gifting clubs are illegal pyramid schemes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. When they come to you with, oh, well, you're just giving it, yeah, but once it's structured like some kind of business game, you've just made it illegal, so watch out for that. Inheritance. Inheritance are not considered income for federal tax purposes, whether you inherit cash, investments, or property. However, any subsequent earnings on the inheritance assets are taxable unless it comes from a tax-free source. So if you receive something that's not taxable, but now it's making money, that part becomes taxable. Again, seek your tax professional. Retirement plan match. Now, this is the one I really want to focus on, because some people don't understand why I don't give a hoot how tough you think it is. If you're on a job and they're going to give you free money, you got to get all of that. See, a good example is a matching fund received from an employer on one's retirement plan. Like the 401k, the employer may choose to match a contribution dollar for dollar. Sometimes it could be less, up to a certain percentage of one's income, usually up to like 6%. Don't turn down a chance to make 100% return on your money before you even invest. So that means if you put in $1 and they matched it $1 or 50 cents on $1, that return that you just received, that's like 100% return without, hey, it's a 50% return if they gave you 50%, dollar for dollar, 100% before you even invested. How would you miss out on that, ladies and gentlemen? Number two, tax-free money, okay? Municipal bonds. Why do we look at municipal bonds? Why is it mentioned sometimes as a good place for possible emergency funds? You see, a municipal bond issued by the state, city, or county, not subject to federal taxes and frequently not to state taxes either. Now, of course, I know how to make sure it is totally deductible. You can get in touch with our firm. We can give you that information. Here's another one we need to consider. Cash value. Cash value of an insurance contract, also called cash surrender value, is the cash amount offered to a policyholder by issuing life carrier. The cash value can be borrowed against the face amount of the policy tax-free as long as the policy is in force. All right, so this is a game we have to play. As long as that policy is in force and you're taking care, that's a loan. You've never paid taxes on a loan. Aha, this could be a strategy, and it is if used properly. The cash value can be paid back or not at the policy owner's discretion. So it's totally up to you. The Roth IRA. You know, I'm one of those guys that believe everybody should have a Roth IRA and they should get it from us. You know, one of the things I have to point out, I'm not teaching people how to do all this stuff so you can go somewhere else with somebody who would never spend time with you on a Saturday and give you all this information. And just out of tradition, we just go somewhere else because we saw a commercial. Unbelievable. Okay, we must learn how to work together with people that are trying to help you. Okay, so the Roth IRA contributions are made with after-tax assets. All transactions within a Roth IRA has no tax impact. That means you don't get to deduct it. And withdrawals are usually tax-free. No required minimum distributions from the original owner at age 72. So with this particular vehicle, you're not going to be required to have to take a distribution at age 72 like all the other programs. However, the Roth IRA must be 5 years old and you must be over 59 and a half to receive the funds tax-free. Keep that in mind. So that means even if you started it at 60, you would have to wait 5 years before what you put in and what it grew to becomes tax-free. So you got to keep that in mind, folks, because tax-free money helps you offset money you have to pay taxes on. So I won't have to take as much from the ones I have to pay taxes on because I have tax-free money. That's another strategy. Okay. Now, let's take a look at number 3, tax-deferred money. When we talk about tax-deferred money, many retirement plans allow tax-deferred to be later to a later time and date. Here are some of the things that you're familiar with: 401ks, 403bs, 457s, traditional IRAs, health savings accounts, and annuities. By deferring your taxes, you could possibly accumulate more money over time. So all that means is you're able to take a special provision by the IRS, invest your money. It can grow without you currently paying taxes on that each and every year, okay, being like 1099 on it, something like that, all right? But what you do is it grows without you being taxed. Don't worry, they're going to get you on the back end, all right? And that's why they require you at a certain age, 72 now, to start taking money from it so they can start paying some taxes, okay? Now let's take a look. Here are some things you want to always remember in qualifying plans. Age 59 is like the governing rule for most plans, all right? Anything you do prior to that, there could be a tax penalty, all right? So you just need to remember that. And then after 59 and a half, even if you're on a job, in most cases, you now can make some other decisions because I help people start moving money early and not wait till the day you're going to retire. You need to be proactive with that because there are some benefits out there if you do that. 72, again, it used to be 70 and a half, now 72, which is good. You are now required to start taking your MRDs, okay? Your minimum required distribution. So again, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind what happens here is this. If you don't take what you're required to take, there's a penalty, 50%. And this example shows you should have took $3,000, you took none, your penalty is $1,500. We don't want to go down that road, do we? And of course, defined benefit plans, I don't have enough time to get into all that today, but if you need some information on that, feel free to get in contact with us. Now, this sheet right here kind of sums it all up, and then I'm going to show you an actual example of how it works. Tax deductible money for 2021. Now, if you take a quick look at this sheet here, it tells you what you could do with your IRAs, your traditional and your Roth, okay, what the income limits are, this, that, and the other. If you are already participating in a plan at your current job. So you want to make sure that you have an opportunity to understand these things. Now, so these are things you can deduct off your taxable income. It's to your advantage to max out your Roth IRA, your traditional IRA for sure, and your Roth IRA, even though it's not tax deductible. Then they have what is called a catch-up provision. That means if you're 50 and older, they let you add in some extra money. On an IRA, it's $1,000. So someone 50 and older, you can save up to $7,000 and write it off of your taxes. Why would you not do that? Okay. Well, it's easy to understand why people don't do it because they spent it all. But if you come to training like this, it starts to, get into your head. Hey, I need to be doing something positive with this money so I can account for what I made. So I know working hard is worth it because I can look at the benefits. That's why we should be doing this. The Coverdale, $2,000 there. Okay, there's some benefits in that. I'm not going to go over everything. The 403B, $19,500. You can put into that. And of course, if you exercise the catch-up provision, you can add another $6,000 to that, folks. $6,500 for a total of $26,000. We got some clients who maxed that bad boy out. Proud of them. Your simple plan is $13,500. It has a catch-up provision too of $3,000 for a total of $16,500. Now, this one I'm not going to show in the example because I don't know whether the person has a business or not. Are they working it? Are they serious? Some people have a business and do absolutely nothing. So again, know that there's something called a SEP, Simplified Employees Pension. You can save up to 25% of your compensation, not to exceed $58,000 for 2021, whichever is less. Okay, so that's a powerful tool right there for those who make a lot of money, man. You need to max that bad boy out, and you get to deduct that off your taxable income. Okay, again, always seek your get with your tax professional to make sure that you're doing everything above board. And of course, all the rest of them, 401ks, 457s, your Roth IRAs, you can save up to $26,000 if you're over 50 and add that $6,500. Nevertheless, everyone else is $19,500. All right, so let's take a look, see how that works. Okay, let's say you have a couple here. One's a stay-home spouse, and you have a spouse that's working, making at least $150,000. Now, write that down, $150,000, because I want you to take a certain percentage of that. So you got one spouse working, the other one stay-home spouse. Let me say something about these stay-home spouses. When we look around and see, it's in a lot of cases, usually women. Every now and then you see men who stay home and the wife is making it happen. That's cool too. Doesn't matter. All right. But the bottom line is they do a lot for you that you don't have to pay for right out. And if you had to pay somebody to do that, man, that's why you're going to love this right here. Because I just went over the deductions that you have here and how much you can put into these plans. So just make a note here so you have seen it. Now, the SEP we're not going to talk about in this example because I don't know if this guy's got a part-time business or a business or not. We might need to talk to him about that, all right? So here's the deal. The employer, he can max out his account to $19,500. And the employer has a 50% match. That means a 50 cents on the dollar of every dollar he puts in, and he's putting in up to 6% of this $150,000. You'll see that comes up to $4,500. Now, notice what I said. We took out the SEP. What else can we do? Well, you see here, we're going to take this person, and we realize he's over 50. So he could put $6,500 into to his 401k. All right, taking it all the way up to $2,600. All right. Now, again, any money you don't properly put away and handle, the government reaches down and takes it from you. Folks, you need to pick one, okay? All right? People act like there's a harm in saving money. When you invest and save your money, you took it out of your plan A and you put it into your plan B. It's still yours. So why are we looking at that like that's a bill never to be seen again? We got to stop that. That's all up here. We got to change the way we look. Now, when you look at the traditional IRAs, these are the limits, okay? If you're single, making more than you can make up to $76,000. If you're married, $125,000 for the Roth. it goes a little higher. So you just need to know that. Okay, you can contribute up to $6,000, obviously. And then, of course, because this person is over 50, they can add another $1,000 to it. Folks, we sheltering some money now, okay? Now, let's take another look. You have another situation where, remember I told you that the spouse is not working. So you got a traditional spouse IRA, okay? You see what the limits are, all right? And a Roth spousal IRA. So, folks, we can put money in all kind of places if you want to keep most of it and get your money working for you so you don't have to keep working like a dog for it. So, the spousal IRA, hey, the wife is 50, so we could put in an additional $6,000 and another $1,000 because they're over 50 for the catch-up. Folks, that's another $7,000 we get to write off of our taxable income. So, keeping that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, these are just a few things that we need to be thinking about so we can keep our money and get our money working for us so one day we won't have to. Why not do this right in the beginning? Why get out there, rock and roll, make a lot of money, spend it all, and then go, oh, crap, I got to get hit with all this other stuff. Well, come on. That's why we have training, and I applaud each and every one of you on here. All right, take a few more minutes to do this, and we should be through. Now, let's talk about another place that people overlook for saving money. And this is in what we call a health savings account. Okay, why should you look at a health savings account? First of all, there's some benefits. Number one, contribute pre-tax funds. So that means what you put in there is tax deductible. All right, grow tax-free earnings. When it's invested in growing, it's growing tax-free. Now, technically it's tax deferred, but it becomes tax-free if you use it properly for the things that it's specified for. Let's make that clear. Because if you renege like a lot of people do and use it for something else that it wasn't meant for, they got something for you. It's called the IRS. Folks, that's why you need to seek wise counsel. Go talk to James, because that's somebody who is actually thorough about what it is they're doing. They're not playing around. I love working with people like that. Enjoy tax-free distribution. So that's what it's all about. So let's take a look at this real quick. This is some more money we don't want to leave on the table. So the bottom line is, in 2021, in your tax savings plan, let me mention some of the things. We can minimize your tax savings. Notice what it says. Enjoy tax-deductible contributions, tax-free earnings, tax-free distributions for qualified expenses. Make a note there, qualified expenses. Okay? How about this? It pays for health care. That's the whole purpose of this. So if you have deductible stuff you got to pay for, that's what you use this for. Roll over. Now with the actual health savings account, you can actually roll over what you didn't use. It happens automatically. So if you maxed it out and didn't use none this year because you're perfectly healthy, it just rolls over into next year and you can still continue to add for that next year up to the limits. So, whoa, why would a person not do that? All right. How about this? Save for retirement. A health savings account works like a 401k. Your money builds an ultimate retirement nest egg, folks, that you get to use the rest of your life for your health situation. So again, if you look down here at the limits in 2021, it's $3,600 an individual can put away, subtract from the taxable income. Now, again, it's handled differently. If it's done through your employer, they take it out. That's, your taxable income is already being handled. But if you do it individually, then you have to make sure your tax preparer knows so they can subtract it from your taxable income. If you have a family, it's $7,200. All right. So keep in mind, these things are important. Now, next year, just make a note. In 2022, for an individual, it's going to be $3,650. And of course, for a family, it's going to be $7,300. So just make a note of that. Now, notice what it says here. If you're 55 years of age, an additional $1,000 is allowed. So more money, more money, more money. Now, who qualifies for this? You have to be in what is called a high deductible health plan, which is high deductible is anything over $1,400 as an individual or $2,800 a year as a family. So if your deductible is higher, because here's a strategy we would use with our clients. Raise your deductible to something you can afford. Start putting money away for that. That's what your health savings plan is for. Then it meant the higher the deductible, the lower the premium. So anybody fussing about paying premium on a health insurance, well, raise your deductible, lower your premium, but make sure you're putting money aside so that you can handle that. All right? Because you could put your money somewhere that's earning you money, waiting for something possibly to come up. So, folks, that's very important. Now, a couple of things to do, then I'm through. Here's what you want to keep in mind. First of all, for most of these plans, there's no enrollment fee, there's no account minimum, and you have investment options. Okay, it's just like a 401k. All right, and you need to understand you have what is called QME, that's qualified medical expenses. If you follow that rule, and you can go to the IRS for that information. All right, you can go to irs.gov, publication 969. Okay, for details on what those qualified medical expenses are. You also have what's called LMN. LMN stands for Letter of Medical Necessities. See, there may be some things that's outside of the qualified examples, like your doctor may say, you know what, you don't move around enough, and I understand your bones hurt. You need to have a treadmill so you can walk every morning and stay in a controlled environment. Well, you can get a letter from that physician to say that you needed a treadmill. Now you can go buy that treadmill and do what? Write it off. Part of the program. And then obviously it's going to give you a list of non-qualified medical expenses, like maybe getting your teeth whitened or getting plastic surgery. That may not qualify. All right. So again, here's one more. Medicare deductions. Now I'm going to just put this up here real quick, just so you understand. You can get deductions for Medicare. Okay, so again, ladies and gentlemen, if you take a quick look at this, all right, you got an idea that, hold up, never thought about that, didn't know I could write that off. Well, if you didn't, you've learned today that you can, and you see what these limits are. I give you a second to write that down. Okay, the second's over with. You can watch the rebroadcast. All right, now, folks, when we talk about taxable money, if you look to your right, these are all the things that require taxes. All right. So what happens here is that you can put money in what is called voluntary accounts. You're going to pay taxes on that. Just be aware of that. But there are some things you want to take in consideration. All right. Which vehicle is best for your money? I'm going to just put this all up here because of the sake of time. Just want to make this clear. We don't know which one is best for you. It depends on your situation. Just know that when we talk about things that are taxable, you look at your stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, real estate, all those things are taxable unless you put them inside of a tax program like an IRA, 401k, 403b, SEP, and annuity. Okay? Now remember, you have what is called capital gains, or short-term capital gains. Long-term capital gains, you could pay anywhere from 0 to 20%. Dividends, 0 to 20%. This is why you want to get your money making you money, as opposed to you making money on wages, where you get put in what is called a tax bracket. Some tax-free things, we mentioned it, municipal bonds, Roth IRAs, and we kind of mentioned some of the things you need to know about those things. And then one of the last that most people don't take in consideration is cash value life insurance, because you have access to money and don't have to follow the rules of the retirement 59 and a half. So if you want more information on that, you can just reach out. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end with this: principles to financial independence. First thing I'm going to tell you, and Mr. Curry has made it clear, you better pay yourself first. Okay? You better pay yourself just like it's a bill. You got to do that. People neglect doing that for 40 years. They get to work for the rest of their life until they die. 2, you need to treat your debt like it's cancer. Don't be one of those people that say debt, old people are in debt. No, everybody's not in debt. Okay? You want to be debt free. If you had cancer, would you want to keep it or get rid of it? 3, you want to protect your wealth as you grow. As you come in Myecon and grow and learn, you want to protect it. That's what all of this information, John told you about how to properly keep most of your money. James made sure you understood that. Dexter made sure you knew how to track what you're doing, have a plan in place. These are important things, folks. You need to control. You need to have control of your own income. That's why you should be in business with us. You want to control your income, not somebody put you under the thumb and say, we're only going to pay you this, which dictates where you live, what kind of car you drive, which kind of business vacations you can take. See, and 4, you need to learn how to work 100 hours a day. Simply put, you need to get some help. Don't be the only one that makes your money. So, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about more money, more money, more money. and I hope you want some more. Okay. There's no amount that I could have that I wouldn't know what to do with. Oh, I know how to handle it. All right. And last but not least, just make a note of this. You could take a snapshot of this. Hopefully it'll come out, looks a little blurred, but we are having an investment webinar on October 23rd. Stephanie J. Sanders and myself, we put that on. You need to pre-register. Okay. And then we even got prizes and gifts that we're going to be giving out. So again, we teach the fundamental basics. I'm not going to be in there teaching you about all this other stuff that's going on, and you don't even have the basics in place. All right. I warn my clients of that all the time. Yeah, I know that sounds exciting, but you don't even have a
recording stopped.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes my presentation. And well, I guess if I turn it back over to Mr. Curry, and we'll from there get